My name is Lane, and I'm a current student in my 6th quarter at Meridian in the Somatics Psychology PhD program. So I was able to get my master's in marriage and family therapy over 20 years ago, about 25 actually. And so I had been looking for a place for education that was more than traditional, and I was referred from my Hakomi therapist community to Meridian, especially because of the emphasis on the integration of somatics with the curriculum and transformative learning, so something that was non-traditional and that would really help me embody, as we say in somatics, a learning experience. And so I found my way as a hungry lifelong learner to Meridian.
What was it about the PhD program specifically? Why'd you go with a PhD degree instead of a PsyD? What drew you to that program?
So for the PhD, I was really looking to just gain more insight and find more ways to be effective in the ways that I'm already connecting in service with my community, whether it's as a clinician in private practice or as a leader. I work in a trauma-informed training center, and so wanting to find a way to, really, even though I wasn't sure I had it in me, make my way towards a dissertation and to contribute to the field, to learn something new and share that with my community.
You touched on transformative learning. For those who may not be as familiar, how would you describe it, and how do you think, or why do you think it's important in a graduate program?
That's a great question, and it's really come to be more clear the longer that I've been in the program, that it is just everything that sits on the outside of traditional learning. So it's integrating the academic rigor of knowledge with learning, right? So that kind of ing on top of what insights and contributions you can make to your field of study in an embodied way, right? So we're having relational experiences, we're having collaborative, challenging experiences. We are in places where there's discomfort and we don't have all the answers, and it's a real-time kind of experiential. And again, for me, relational is really key, community. And so that makes it stand out as something that's going to have more lasting impact on me, and that I'll be able to bring out into my work, into the world, and just as a human.
Overall, this is kind of a two-part question. How has your experience through that transformative learning piece been with fellow students and faculty? Anything you want to share about your experiences with both?
This is another one of those delightful surprises. I was anticipating a different kind of experience, but the interactions with my peers and with faculty have exceeded anything I could have imagined in a really beautiful, positive way. There's a lot of responsiveness as well as lived experience and skillfulness in the faculty. But also for me, coming from a trauma-informed background, having a sense of community and relational psychological safety in order to do vulnerable, deep work has been so key, and that has been modeled and embraced. And I've been through hardships, through a hurricane and various other things during my studies, and have felt so supported by the faculty, not just with flexibility, but with a kind of genuine compassion. And also helping me meet my challenges, right, and not just avoid them. My peers as well, they have represented a really diverse, inclusive set of folks who bring new perspectives, which I've been looking for with the beginner's kind of mindset, and then also a really safe kind of place to join with others and to learn together. So that sense of community has been key, and that richness is not something I would ever be able to go without in a program like this, being able to learn alongside.
How has it been for you balancing the online format or online school with outside life commitments?
That was honestly one of the biggest trepidations I had starting. Well, how am I going to balance everything and all the demands? This is something we have always in life, but particularly, going into something that's such a long commitment, and wanting to do it in such a deep, fulfilling way. Um, so I've been able, luckily, because of the online format, and I'm new to that since I'm an older learner, right? This is my first experience with it, to appreciate the flexibility. So being able to get work done at a pace that doesn't sacrifice my other responsibilities, and I can, rejoin, whether it's a writing post or a recorded class at another time, and that's just been critical, and it's been available to me. So I've appreciated that as well.
What are your professional plans after Meridian? It's okay if that's still to be determined. Are you licensed, working out in the field already? What do you plan to do?
Yeah, it's a great question. That continues to evolve and emerge as I learn more. But I want to continue the work I do. I'm incredibly fueled by the clinical practice I have. So I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. So I'll continue to have a private practice, working with couples and families and individuals. But I also want to move my work in the trauma-informed field, whether I'm hosting transformative groups, I connect with a global community and sort of practice work, and I want to bring not just education, but experience and creative action, these kinds of things I'm learning at Meridian, from a seat of greater central capability, which is another lovely Meridian term that I've come to understand more fully.
I know that the somatic piece was important for you. You mentioned in searching for a program. How much of the somatic psychology piece do you feel is embodied in the curriculum? As an admissions advisor, it's a question I get a lot. Will I have to concentrate in it in order to experience it in the coursework, or is it kind of embedded into other courses as well without having to concentrate in it? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, so far, and I'm just, sort of midway, I imagine, in my coursework, my answer is I'm finding that it's embedded in other coursework, which was not what I expected, but has turned out to be really helpful. Just as an example, I'm in the healing and transforming trauma course. It is certainly part of the curriculum, and learning more about not just the neurobiology around somatics, but also having it be something that we can use to regulate and learn better within coursework that may be activating.
Overall, in these last 6 quarters, how do you feel that attending Meridian has changed or shaped how you see the world today? Has it changed anything for you? What are you taking with you as you've grown and changed yourself?
That is a wide, beautiful question. I'll just answer from the lens of, I think, just sitting with the unknown. I think the liminal is another term, that we learn about in our studies. And being able to navigate the complexities. We talk about polycrises and everything that's going on in the world, and especially in my aspiration to connect in a more meaningful way with more people across the globe, right? Really needing to have the capacity to sit with that and to understand, these are my blind spots, and how to bring that to a place where we're creating something in a cohort, right? And that is something that Meridian is helping me more and more clearly understand and be able to receive, right? And not to be the expert, to be the learner, and to sit alongside others with what I like to think of as cultural humility.
Overall, what stands out about Meridian to you? Like, if you had to narrow it down to one thing, what do you think stands out?
Just opportunity and depth. I think those two words really, there's something expansive about it, and dropping down is something I've heard from other faculty that helps me feel like this is not a superficial experience where I'm adding in learning, but I'm actually becoming part of the learning, and I can bring that out into the world is who I am. And that I'm not really sure if that's the answer to the question, but that's something that stands out to me.
If you were speaking to someone who was on the fence about Meridian right now, what would you say to them?
Oh, on the fence, I would tip them right towards Meridian. it's not something that I could have known, and these videos I'm sure will be helpful, but really unexpected gains for sure. That there's a depth that gets to be plumbed that you can't get anywhere else really, and the holism, the whole package of the program. It's not going to leave you unaffected, right? That's the whole point, is to be affected and to take that, learning forward, really.